Two chemical attacks have reportedly taken place in northern Syria. One occurred in the government-controlled part of the city of Aleppo. The other in the rebel-held territory of Sarakib in the province of Idlib, just southwest of Aleppo. Now, at least 5 people have been killed and more than a dozen injured in Aleppo, which is Syria's largest city. The unverified footage on the right allegedly shows the aftermath of a similar attack overnight in a residential area of Sarakib. More than 20 people were injured there when chlorine gas was reportedly dumped from a helicopter. Both the Syrian government and rebel groups have denied any responsibility. RT's Paula Sleer has been following the story.
Well, what we know at this stage is that there have been 2 chemical attacks inside Syria. Now, the first one is being widely reported on. It happened in the northern Syrian town of Sarakib, which is in the Idlib province. And according to eyewitnesses on the ground, there was a helicopter that dropped cylinders down. We're hearing that as many as 30 people, mostly women and children, have been injured. And they've been taken to hospital, where the hospital staff are echoing the initial reports we heard from medics who arrived at the scene. And that is that people smelt of chlorine. Doctors are also telling us that there are no physical wounds that patients have, but all of them have bloodshot eyes, all of them are coughing. At the same time, all of them are suffering from breathing problems. This attack happened in the area that is very close to where a Russian military helicopter was shot down on Monday night by militants. All 5 people on board were killed. This is a rebel-held territory, which explains why the initial finger pointing is at the Assad-led government troops. But of course, this hasn't been verified, and there is at this stage no claim of responsibility for this attack. The second chemical attack happened in a government-controlled area of the northern Syrian divided city of Aleppo. And here we're hearing that at least 5 people were killed. Hospital staff also talking about patients suffering from respiratory problems. We managed to speak with someone from the area who has been in touch with doctors and hospitals, and this is what he told us.
According to the information that I got from the health director of Aleppo, Dr. Muhammad Hazuri, he said actually by the checkups that we made and the analyzers, it's clear that the gas that have been used is not sarin, it's khardal or chlor or a mix of both of those 2 sorts. Of course, the shelling was from area which is under control of the rebels.
Now, we're talking here about 2 separate areas. One is controlled by the rebels, one is controlled by the government, and in both areas there are reports of chemical attacks having happened. So you have both sides, both the rebels and the government forces, blaming each other for carrying out these attacks. And this has happened in the past when there have been reports of chemical weapons being used in Syria. You always have a situation that the rebels and the soldiers blame each other for actually carrying out those attacks. Now, it's interesting to note that many mainstream media outlets are reporting only on the attack in the Sarakib province, which many are saying was carried out by government forces because it is in a rebel-held territory. They're also reporting on a statement that it was carried out as a revenge for the shooting down of the Russian helicopter on Monday. They do not make any mention of the reports that we're receiving of a chemical attack happening in a government-controlled area, and the finger pointing and the accusations seem to suggest that that was carried out by the rebels. So on that issue, the mainstream media is keeping very quiet.
Well, some more about the weapons being used. In its gas form, chlorine can be deadly. Medium to high levels of exposure to the toxic chemical can do serious damage to the body. Now, chlorine poisoning causes excess fluid to build up in the lungs, which can lead to respiratory failure. It can also mean a loss of vision and skin being eaten away. And in extreme cases, death can occur in just a few minutes.
The U.S., the last time, without any evidence, and it turned out with much evidence against it, immediately said this was Assad doing it. Turned out, I would say, absolutely proved, I think most people can agree, probably proved that Assad did not do that. And I don't think, my guess is, why would you use chlorine gas? There are far more dangerous World War I gases that one could use if one were interested.
Clearly, this is an act of desperation by the jihadists that are trying to defend their territory or the captured city. Blaming this on Russia or even the Assad government is pathetic and despicable, because obviously there's absolutely no reason for them to use such a amateur weapon.